Episode Insight. This particular episode, my guest is Sam Sakala, aka he doesn't like this, Dope G. You'll figure it out. First of all, Dope, as my boy who I've known for millions and millions of years, you talk things, but I never thought you would talk things when the cameras are on, bro. But you know what? I'm privileged to know that you trusted me enough to have it happen on my platform. Means a lot. For the rest of you guys, you're gonna see a side of Sam that you don't see on screen and mostly don't get to hear on records. So you guys definitely want to lock in on this one. Mara boy, I appreciate you, Famo. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. For everybody else, I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, but I know you will. Either way, let me know. What up, guys? You already know what it is. It's your boy Young. We're continuing with the Zambian edition of the pod. Usually I say you're at the PodHouse and you're in your favorite room. That's not going to work for the next couple of episodes. You guys are going to catch on very soon. You know what? You're going to see very soon what we're doing, and I'm sure you guys are going to love it because I'm having the time of my life. With that being said, I'm still carrying on with trendsetters, people I look up to, and people doing amazing things in their field. And today's guest, I'm not sure how I'm going to do the introduction. I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, today I've got my man, my brother, Sam Sakala.
Yes.
I didn't even know which one to use, bro.
I was just here waiting. I'm like, I dare you. Call me anything else.
No, bro. First of all, thanks for coming on the pod.
Hey,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's a pleasure, man.
It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I took my time with it. Took my time with it. I didn't want to rush greatness. Thank you for coming through, bro.
Nah, thanks for having me, bro. I've seen this dream come to life, like from inception and stuff. So let me just take this time to just say I'm super proud of you for doing this right now.
Come on. Don't make the host there. Do something in the episode, Mr. Sakala. Now, bro, so okay. I know obviously I can't jump all the way back because it would be like jumping back to where I was. You know what I mean? So perfect place to start. For the simple fact that I didn't know how to intro you.
Yeah.
Because there's so many monikers involved. Let's start with the rap side of things. Did you have any major challenges? Because I feel like you transitioned early than everyone else, because the acting is like it came while you were like at the brink of like the music success. What was that like, that experience for you?
I think that the job that I'm on right now, this has felt like my first acting job. Why? Because before I was a rapper who was doing acting on the side, you know, and we had this cockiness, man. Like, you know, we're talking about one of the biggest groups to ever exist here, you know, and we're doing that right in the middle. If you remember, like before we took our very first little trip to Kenya, I had to pause. Yeah, like I was shooting.
You were shooting and you had to wait
for Love Games at the time. Yeah, exactly. So they had to wait for me for a while. So at that time, man, like things are just starting to happen with the music. And then this is also happening on the side. Now, one thing I had underestimated is just how big TV was as well. Yeah, but then like back then, you know, I was young and I was dumb. I was cocky. Yeah, so I thought I'm like, nah, I'm doing them a favor by actually being on here. Yeah, but then second job came around, I realized I didn't learn enough from my first job. So I was just there messing this thing up, and you know, I was in limbo really. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life back then. You know, we had just done our last project with the group in that same year. So that year was just like for me trying to figure out things. This is 2015 towards the end, you know. So when we did that one, I started paying a bit more attention to what film is like. Yeah, so when this particular one came around, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to sleep this time. And luckily we had people who were helping us out, like, you know, the late great Jeff Stully was on the project.
Uncle Jeff, legend.
Have younger people like Nancy Handabile, who's also a great coach when it comes to acting. A lot of other people actually did also jump on to help, and you know, we had so many great talents. Like if you're sitting across from, you know, Ann Katamanda, who plays mom on that, you know, that's a legend. You know, you have you know, Barbara, who plays Lute. Like sometimes you're in a scene and you catch yourself almost just like being marveled.
Yeah, you find it out.
Talent. Yeah, exactly. So it was it's been an experience. It really is. And I also love that it made me fall in love with film. Like this time around, I feel like I have fallen in love with film. Yeah. So, and film and music go hand in hand. Like, even back then you'd be excited about like a soundtrack album that's dropping for, what was that DMX film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many. Romeo Must Die.
Romeo Must Die. It had like such a strong soundtrack and stuff.
Yeah.
We grow up seeing things like that happening. So yeah, I love that I am able to see both sides, both film and music, because these are things which go side by side. Yeah.
You said something that I want to nitpick on. You said by the time your second job came along, you felt like you didn't learn enough from the first.
Yeah.
Like, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So with film, I know that there's, multi-camera versus one camera, like the way the approach is different. Little things like knowing that I need sides on a daily, like I had forgotten something like that after two jobs, it's like, it's something that I should have taken in and just internalized, you know what I mean? Like, even if I don't practice on stage, like I know for sure that there's certain things I can't throw away just because I'm not practicing. Yeah. So, there's things like that. And also just like, understanding your character, just putting in the time to like, have these little, things which are unique about them and them being separate from you as a person and all of that stuff. Like I wasn't there mentally. So it's like almost everything. Heck, like I didn't even know how they'd slate a scene, for example, because like I just wasn't that invested.
So now, like, okay, while you were going through all of these transitions and the music is taking off, did you ever feel like there was a battle within? Because like the rap ego, like I call it the rap ego, like it overtakes everything. You know what I mean? The focus needs to be on that stage presence, the drip, the delivery of the bars and everything. Did you ever feel like you were being pulled in opposing sides when you needed to focus on the film side of things? Or was it just a smooth transition for you?
So I think I've been privileged enough to never have to do both at the same time, right? Like literally at the same time, because with Love Games, that time we're doing Zone Fam stuff, I feel like there was a balance. I don't ever think that there was a time where I'd be like, oh no, I can't make it to a show because I'm shooting. With that one, it was very clear. And I think we're also going through the transition. Like we had just gotten signed and, we're now doing our first parts of, like how we're going to go about things. So that never clashed. And then come second job, which was Fever, that also didn't clash. Why? Because that year, most of it I spent it like trying to know what direction I'm going to go in. And then I only came and shot the My Hair single towards the end. That's when I had figured out what I was doing. And even with the My Hair single, like I knew, I'm like, okay, weekend I'm not shooting. I can quickly like do the video and then, we go on. And then I dropped by the time the audio dropped, I think we were done shooting. So they never really got to clash. So now when I'm now doing Zua, which is 6 days a week, you sign off 12 hours a day, and you practically live on set, bro. So the first 4 months, I completely failed to like write any music or do any recording. So VGZ, I give him so much respect, bro. Like VGZ is the one who pushed. He's like, listen, I have this record and it's only you that I'm hearing on it. So that was so chill with Jack the Fizzle. Yeah, bro. So I sat on this record for months on end, just like trying to see how I was going to approach it. I think I wrote it like 6 times, this is just one verse. And even on the day that we recorded, because at the time I was playing 2 characters like the twins, right? So in the morning, I was shooting as one guy. And then like we had the lunch break. That's when he picked me up. Like I was literally eating in the car, bro. Like going, we recorded.
Wait, so you recorded in between?
Yes, yeah. Whoa. Yeah. So we go and we record that, and then I went to shoot as the other guy now. Yeah.
So just so you know, that's one of VG's. I think the episode would already be out by now. That's one of VG's favorite verses.
Oh yeah.
So when I had him on the pod, he had like that's the verse was like after this verse, there's no project I'm gonna drop and it doesn't have if it doesn't have him on. I don't know. It's like it was a big deal for both of you.
Yeah,
like it seems it was a special moment for you guys.
For sure.
Now, okay, perfect segue. My Hair. You mentioned My Hair, which I feel like it's a behemoth of a hit that followed you around for a long time. What was that process like? Because I think that's when you're working on your first solo album. Yes.
Yeah.
What was it like and like that whole experience for Did you know what you were creating when you were creating?
I had no idea what I was creating. I think the one thing that I knew for sure is I knew what the song, I knew what kind of sound I was going for. And then I also knew what I wanted the subject matter to be. So 2015 happens, and I remember that year so well. Why? Because Zone Fam puts out the last record, Slow Mo.
Slow mo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while we're recording for Slow Mo, Jay played me Joanne. So
Oh. Yeah,
things are about to be different here.
Yeah.
So at the time, like, he already had like a single out. Yeah. So, but then when I heard Joanna, I was just like, yo,
That's the one. Right?
this right here is about to change the landscape. Yeah. So it's then when we had the conversation about like me being in the music video even. So I was like, say less, bro. Like, again, we had been working with Grace Ramsey for the One Fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even like doing that video, like it was, it was with her. So when I heard that, and then that's also the year Cosmo dropped Sheer Bomb.
No.
So it was a year where there was a lot of dancehall. So now I'm coming from, we're coming from the group, and then I know that my solo career has to start, but then I don't know what sound to go for. Now there are dancehall songs which are recorded. Yeah. Bro, I went into studio and started recording dancehall music, bro.
Yeah.
I'm me, I feel about it. And then I'm like,
English even heard these, bro.
I was too embarrassed, bro. I have all these booyaka, 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 and they're just right there. So I'm like, you know what? This is not me. Like, I know where I want to go. Yeah. So at the time, I think I'm chasing 30. So I'm like, one thing I had told myself is I'm going to grow with the brand. I've noticed a lot of rappers still want to like remain young and still appeal to like kids or whatever. But then for me, I was like, let me try and start structuring something which will sound mature. So originally I wanted to do a song about shoes, right?
Shoes?
Yeah, shoes. But I love clothes, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a song about shoes, but then there was a Nigerian group that had done a song about shoes. Could have been the same year. And it was exceptional. I was like, there's no way I'm going to beat this.
See, now I'm curious what angle you were gonna go for, like shoes.
Yeah. So I decided, I'm like, okay, you know what I'm going to do is let me do a song about hair, because like I took myself back. I was like, what's something that everybody is going to relate to? I mean, like you live in the city, you definitely do worry about like,
You used to walk around with a guy with a ponytail. So yeah.
You know what I
That
mean?
made sense. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So I now started going through like what sound I wanted to go for, and I already had the song, like the references and all of that stuff in my head, right? And we're working with Shamsi at the time, genius producer.
One of the best to do it.
I know, right? Yeah. So I called Sham like, hey, bro, I have this concept. Can we do it? It's like, let's go. So we divided into, it was supposed to be 2 sessions. It ended up being 3. Yeah. So the first session was for us to create the beat. Second session was going to be us recording. And then the third session was going to be us having the session players come through. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
like some extra to it. Oh, nice.
So
nice.
First session, we make the beat, and it's exactly what I wanted. But I had it written at the time. So now I'm struggling with this song. I'm upside down in bed, just trying. And then the day to record finally comes, So we agreed that we're going to go in, I think at like 1 p.m. Yeah. And I was, he used to live in McKinney at the time. So I parked at the mall just waiting. And the lyrics just started coming to me. Yeah. So in one sitting, I managed to write, I have 3 verses on that, right? Yeah, I think it's 3 verses. Wrote those verses, the hook also, I structured it. It was actually his baby mama now who put the vocal on it.
Oh, the female layer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, cause I was like, should I call the singer? I was like, nah. Just pulls her from the bag. She goes and she records on it. And next session was guitar with Sir Jones. So he was there telling me, no, I programmed the drums for Sakala Brothers, Londole. And I'm like, I grew up on this stuff, bro. So to actually sit across from you, and he was telling stories. There was load shedding in that year. So I remember the first time I was supposed to have that session, it didn't happen. So we just stayed chatting. And I was like, this needed to happen, because here's an older musician who's there passing down knowledge.
Tapping in, getting
we tapped in hard, and this man was talking about going around the world teaching people guitar, and like how people just get completely blown when he starts playing Kalindula, because it's like there's no other form of music which plays in that count or whatever. Yeah, all these technical terms for it. Yeah. So boom, we record the record and I'm busy shooting on the other side. So, we drop it, even the artwork, we shot it while on set. I'm
Wow.
literally in like my character's clothes when we shot that thing. Like, yeah, so we shoot it, send it
So
out.
there's the crossover there.
Yeah,
There's the crossover.
exactly. So boom, it goes out, bro. And I had no idea. I literally had people. I think J-Rox is who told me is like, I don't listen to radio and I don't hear your song. At the time, yeah, the late great Karisto Chitampia was there, like pushing hard. Bless that young man, bro.
Yeah.
Bless that young man. Yeah. So back then, songs would blow up on radio first, and then
Quite
also
well.
yeah. Made sure that by the time I dropped, I'd already shot the video for it. Video came out the month later. I remember people actually telling me like, "Oh, this is such a terrible time to drop music because we're towards the end of the year. Like the hits have already been made."
Wow.
So I was like, bro, like I've made a career out of doing the things that people think
Going
they
against
don't
the
do.
grain.
Exactly, bro. So that took off. It's turning 10 this year.
Wow.
10 whole years, yeah.
Big
So now
milestone.
people say legend. I'm like, all right, maybe just maybe.
Maybe just
we
maybe.
date back 15 years ago.
Come on.
Yeah, so, love it, bro. I love it.
So now, with everything that was going on with the success of my hair, did you think I'd put this on ice and focus back on film?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to understand like how you found the balance between the two. Because the thing is, everything that you were doing musically blew up.
Yeah.
Film wise, I mean, you're in one of like arguably, I would say, Love Games is monumental in the film space in Zambia. You know what I mean? Now, no, like at the time, people didn't really grasp what was happening. But like years later, we're like, people actually refer back and they're like, you know what, guys, that was actually groundbreaking. So everything you were involved in was big.
Yeah.
Where was the balance?
The trick was I only used to take acting jobs which were short. Yeah. So
okay.
if I'm not mistaken, when we're shooting Love Games, it wouldn't go over 3 months, eh? Yeah, because I mean, we're only shooting Love Games was I think 13 episodes per season.
Seemed way
Like
longer.
that Mr. Bean effect with only so many episodes.
And
Yeah.
like 12.
I know, right? Yeah, so with Love Games, it was nice and short. We do a thing, we forget, continue with our lives. When Fever came around, it was practically the same thing. So I knew, I'm like, okay, we're also doing just 13 episodes. So I quickly do the shoot. I go back into like doing music and pushing my things in that regard. Yeah. The challenge though came when I got onto a daily show. Because like I say, it's 6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Yeah. So now just to find that balance. And there's a point where I'm just like, I'm going hard on this side. And then I start saying, okay, you know what? I can't keep just doing one thing. Like I am both. Like I am on both sides of the spectrum. And I need to like make sure that I maximize on both sides. Now the burnout started kicking in and I didn't realize it.
That's the balance.
Exactly.
That's the balance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I remember by the time that we're doing joints like Chabeba with J Cash, like at that point I am pushing through. But then like I am finding it hard to just like properly find the balance, right? So with that burnout now comes a little habit, Yeah, it's something that I'm over now, but like that also started sending me deeper into like anxiety and all of that stuff, right? So I remember this one weekend I had 3 shows and I canceled each and every one of them just to be at home freaking out about nothing. And I guess that's the danger of self-medicating as well, because like, you haven't seen like a psychiatrist or whatever about whatever it is that you're going through, and you just go for the quickest fix or whatever. And this is stuff that I talk about it. Like I talked about it on Little.
No, it's a very important conversation to have.
No, for sure. So I think after that, and I'm throwing away opportunities here. Like these are opportunities that I prayed for. With TV, it's just that there was a lot going on, so you don't necessarily have people who are catching on to you as you're breaking. But then the signs are there. Like you watch a certain episode and you're like, look, I don't even look like myself. Around that period, I was just like, okay, now you know what? Like this is the time for me to actually start seeking help. I did eventually find a therapist, and eventually, even like counseling at church and stuff. Like I went in, but it's something that I talk about it so easily because, it's something that needs to happen. Like if I'm not feeling well right now, physically, I can check into a hospital. Looking fine. Yeah. So I'm like, when things are not okay up there, least I can do is just like, seek help. And you find that a consultation is not even expensive. You know what I mean? But it's just the stigma that's around it. Like people don't.
Shout out for the vulnerability because like people don't usually speak so openly about it. So like when you were going through that period, what would you say is the one thing that got you deeper into it?
Isolation. Yeah, isolation. And I think it was so easy for me to hide because a lot of people thought that I was always busy. Yeah.
Because you had so much going on.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
family.
And most of these things are happening when I get home at night, that's when the walls start to feel like they're closing in, So because I didn't necessarily have a community to be accountable to, I'm able to just go about my life in the most unhealthy way and, no one knows about it, yeah. So that's why I have so much empathy for like, when artists or just anybody really like they end up in a situation where they do something which is bad or whatever. People are going through it out there.
Yeah, you just don't know what someone is really going.
That's the thing. Yeah, so it's easy to speak from privilege if things are happening for you. You know what I mean? Like everything seems to be in a straight line.
Just keep it moving.
Yeah,
just do you.
Yeah, and also like I'm in the church now, and sometimes the church will just come and like put scripture on you or whatever. But I'm like, look, even Jesus himself, like before he attended to spiritual needs, he talked about people's physical needs. He's providing food and things. Talked about people's emotional needs. You know what I mean? Like the woman at the well, he talks to her like, yo, you don't need to be having 5 dudes, that you're going to bed with. Like, sort that out.
First before
then,
you want
exactly, yeah. Then now we can start talking about like spiritual things because I mean, like, if I'm stuck here and I need to get to town, like if what I need is a Yango fare or like a bus fare or whatever, you just saying God bless you is not
it's not enough. Yeah, something
I have
is
a
to give.
physical need. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, bro, I think that I needed to go through that just so that whenever I meet people who are going through stuff like that, like I can speak from a point of like, oh wait, like
you understand it.
Yeah.
I want to be very conscious with how I phrase the question because I know a lot of people don't openly talk about it for whatever reasons they may have. You know what I mean? If you're going through something, seek help at your own time. We don't rush anyone or anything like that.
Yeah.
What would you say? How can I phrase this? What was the hardest part of it? You know what you're going through. So you mentioned that you eventually went therapy, counseling, all of that. How did you get yourself to that point? Because I know, like the hardest part is like admitting, first of all, that you have an issue.
Yeah.
But like getting yourself to a point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna look for help. Because therapy now, at least people talk about it more openly. But we come from an era where man, you can't mention things like anxiety. It's like, what are you anxious about? Yeah, no, you're start. So how did you navigate those type of waters?
I'd say for me, first of all, seeing other people like, throw their lives away, like we have mutual friends where, that they didn't take action in good enough time and then they end up losing everything, So I was like, ish, like I don't want to exit too early. I don't want to have it, and then there's been times when things get scary. Yeah, and obviously, like, right now we're being professional or what, in case you people didn't know. Purple was one of my closest friends, right? Yeah. So there was that one time in Livingston where like, I just sunk really deeply, and I remember like waking you guys up and being like, yo, bro, like I'm going through it right now. You know what I mean? That to me was one of the scariest things to ever happen. And I was also privileged to have you guys around, you and Tim at the time. Yeah, bro. So I won't always have that privilege. We're grown now, we're adults. Everyone is living their life.
Yeah, life is life.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started to see, I was like, okay, with the way that I'm feeling right now, if I just keep, just overlooking it, chances are I'll end up like most of the people who are in the entertainment industry where you're stuck in like, you're stuck in certain habits. Just
it's like a loop, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's been people that are dear to us, people that we have even worked with or whatever. And then it's either they end it or they just get into like really destructive behavior, which ends up leading to either their death or them losing everything. Yeah. So I was like, look, it's going to be hard, like walking into those offices. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm trying to achieve. I'm like, that little bit of discomfort if on the other end I'm going to come out better, then I'm going to go for it. Yeah. So
Shout out to you for actually,
bro,
you make it. It sounds like it's easy. It's really not.
No, it's
It's really
not.
not. It's a lot of
not.
like internal work.
Yeah.
Would you say it affected your music in any way? Like all these experiences.
It did affect it, but then people didn't necessarily get to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it did affect the way that I was writing, and also I think my approach towards mental health is different now. I'm not going to tell you everything is going to be fine. Sometimes everything won't be fine.
It's okay to not be okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So where you are, I feel like you have to know what kind of help to seek. Yeah. And for me, like you've lived most of your adult life in the public eye. You know when somebody recognizes you.
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody recognizing you, they'll have preconceived notions or whatever, and they have expectations as to what what a person who is in your position is supposed to be doing, what they're not supposed to be doing. So I remember the first day in therapy, like we're all just acting like we don't know what's going on. It's just like at reception, it's just like
walls are out.
Weird. Yeah, bro. And then the therapist comes in and, you can even see them like almost like stop in their stride and then like, okay, professional bag, and then they continue. It was really uncomfortable. And after the first session, this woman looks me square in the eye and says, no, I don't really think that there's anything wrong with you. This is just session 1. Yeah. But
was that intentional?
No, I think it was just like a slip. Like, it's like, I don't, it's just, we haven't spoken much. Yeah. But I'm telling you, by the second, third session, she's just like, woo!
There's a lot.
Yeah.
He opened the can.
Exactly. And also like, I talk about having to go to church also. The church counselor was like, wow, you really came here. And he himself, and I'll say this out loud, because this is how ridiculous this was. It's like, I'm a man too, and there's certain issues that I have, and I'm not brave enough to go and, talk to somebody about it.
You see why I said what I said?
Exactly.
I think that's what's holding back so many people though.
Yeah.
It's the fear of what if someone sees me, or, when I'm there, someone recognizes me. But help is help.
Bro.
You need help. Who cares who's who in the hospital?
I know, right?
When you need it, you need it.
That's the thing. And there was a moment that happened there, and this is, I don't even know if I should talk about it in public. I had this one guy, right? Like he had promised to beat me up, basically. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And yeah, it was a big misunderstanding. We talked about it, like, I had approached him or whatever, but it was one of those, like, even just like he's posting, it's on site. Yeah. And I won't lie, like, it was one of those, like, I'd walk around the mall and, looking over my shoulder, I'm like, end up meeting this person. Yeah, bro. So, yeah. So I haven't seen him ever since the whole incident, because, it was online and, some people calling just saying, hey, no, this person is looking for you, blah, blah.
He was actively looking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those, and I get it, it was a big misunderstanding. Yeah, bro. And then, I get to the therapist's office, bro. And this man is sitting right there.
No.
Yeah. So, but one thing that I really loved about that was there was almost like a shared respect, Yeah. Where it's like, okay, you know what? The thing that got us to this point in the first place is like our brokenness. And here we are doing something about it. So we're meeting in a place which ultimately makes both of us better people. And I'm obviously going to leave here in a position where I wouldn't want to hurt somebody else in the way that, my actions ended up hurting you. And I'm pretty sure like with him, it was just like, okay, me threatening violence to like express what I was feeling on the inside. Like, I'm going to leave here and not necessarily have to do. Yeah, bro. And we greeted each other. Like, there was no like aggression. It was just like, it was respect, bro. It was respect. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that with men, the conversation is starting to change, but in general, I feel like we need to start talking more about what we're going through. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that we need to start talking more and also just like pushing each other towards just being better men, better fathers, better children to our parents. You know what I mean? Like, it starts with young conversations.
You know what I mean?
We'll take it up from there. Yeah, bro.
So now with all this internal turmoil that Sam Sakala is going through. Now I wanna dive into this categories that you need to be placed in.
Yeah.
There's Dope G, the rapper,
Yeah.
that everyone knows you for, and then there's Sam Sakala. And now with everything that you've gone through and everything you've experienced, you've grown. Is there any change to? Are we going to see more or less of Dope G, or more or less of Sam Sakala? Like what direction can we expect you to go in now?
I started to feel like Dope G was more of in a cage. It's like, this is who you are, stay here. And people do that to entertainers as well. Like, as soon as you just come out being more than one thing,
It,
it's a problem. It's just like,
Yeah.
abanabo. Like, just do what we know you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah. So as I started to grow, I started to learn more about myself. And I mean, like, most of us are on a journey to find ourselves. Most of the things that we are is either things that we have been told, or the family that we were born into, or like the society that we're born into. And as you grow and you get more exposed, you're like, wait, there could actually be more to me with this exposure that I have, and just putting a bit more effort into something like this. You know what I mean? Like, I can be a lot more than just what people see me as. You know. So on the side, I'm starting to grow, bro. Like, I'm getting gigs which have got nothing to do with music. Like, maybe the music could be either musical TV. Like, maybe these things
Could be the platform
yeah,
that made
exactly.
you more visible.
Exactly. But then, like, I'm getting like creative director roles, or, people are consulting over how best to communicate something that's to do with health to the masses, because this is something that we have done or whatever. And now you've got stuff to study, and it's science, the same things that you were avoiding in school. And here you are,
It comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And then as you read this stuff, you're like, wait, I have the same comprehension as the next guy. The only difference is that maybe they've dedicated more time to it. And obviously I can't compare my, my little knowledge that I've gotten from the things that I have Googled, or the few resources that I'm given, to somebody actually doing like a PhD in whatever it is that they're in. But at the same time, it's just like, there is a lot more to me than just a guy who can rap, Yeah. So with that also came, Dope G, it's everything Zone Fam related. I am here for everything Zone Fam related. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean? Because we worked hard to actually make sure that we put that thing out there.
Blood, sweat, and tears,
Yes.
real for real.
Yeah. So just because we're not necessarily doing a Zone Fam project, it doesn't mean that now every single thing that I do outside of that, you have to remind me,
Yeah.
this that you did or whatever. Yeah. So I think that I have been on a journey to find me and who I am. You know what I mean? And it's been going on for a while, but I feel like I'm closer now than I've ever been.
Is the answer leaning more towards Sam Sakala?
Yeah,
taking
no.
that role?
For sure. I mean, like, he's always been the person making the calls and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So being in this position now, it's like, okay, like, there's things I would be embarrassed about when I was, because that's the thing with the rap demeanor. It's like, you create this character who is everything that's supposed to be perfect.
The rap ego.
Exactly. It's the rap ego. It really is that. And also, for us, I don't know about the guys who are coming up now. There was a huge identity crisis.
No.
Yeah, like, there was no way in heck when I was starting out, I'd be like, okay, my rap name is going to be Sam Sakala.
Yeah, no.
How?
Are you kidding?
Bro.
On whose track list?
Exactly. So, it created this whole thing of, like, trying to be like the people we used to listen to.
Yeah.
American hip hop was the biggest genre in the world at the time,
Still is.
Exactly.
Yeah, still is.
Debatable, but yeah.
Well, let's not talk about conversation.
I raised you Afro beats. All right.
Okay.
So that genre is big. So, I'm structuring this. And I think one of the main things, which was just like an eye opener, my first time in the United States, I'm like, wait, I don't even speak the language correctly, bro. Like, people still have to be like, huh? I want a bottle of water. And they're like, huh? And you start to see the culture and, the way Black folks are that side. Not to take anything away from them. They have done so much in the liberation of the rest of,
all of us as a race.
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, they were the cool ones first, and they showed us freedom, and like, they have reached levels of freedom that we're yet to get to. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's things that we can do that they can't. But one thing we can't take away is that because of our experiences and all of that, we're quite different. So when I am here trying to pretend so hard to be that, like, I am now losing out on the beauty of my own culture. There's so many things that happen where I come from. We've geeked about this so many times. Yeah. So
when you start discovering like the ancestry, the roots, the
Just-
cultural, don't get me started, bro, because you know what's the stuff. So now, okay, wait. Based on what we're talking about now, I'll raise you Tando, who I feel is another. Your face says it all.
Yeah.
I feel like that character was so big, so big.
Yeah.
So I'm sure now the conversation is Dog GIC, but now it's like you have to battle the character you portrayed.
Yeah.
What's the conversation there?
It's a tough one. It is, but I'm also grateful that was not my first job. So I know that, when it's running, that's who you are to people. And I've never had to battle something like that because it's every single day you're being branded as this person. Every day. Like, it was shown in
This is
5
print
days.
media, this is
Exactly.
social media.
Or just TV itself. Because like that show is showing on at least 3 different channels on, between, the people who are
You can
carrying
catch it in South Africa as well.
Exactly. Yeah, but they didn't pay, so won't say where. so yeah, you're in people's homes, and you're not just in people's homes. You're in people's living rooms and TV rooms and stuff, and people are being quiet as you speak. Somebody had to break
it's
it
like
down.
a family meeting.
Exactly,
basically.
and you have speaking rights. Not everyone in the family can speak during
You're the
family
rich
meetings.
uncle.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we used to joke about it, saying, in Christmas you're smelling all those braais in the neighborhood. Like, we are some of the people who are privileged enough to be able to walk into like a braai with people you don't know, and chances are, like 90% of the time, they will know you and they'll welcome you and they'll feel like they actually know you.
I've used that to my advantage a couple of times. We've got some meeting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So right now I'm going against that because there's been times when fans find you on the streets and they want to approach you and call you by that name, and you're like, no, my name is Sam, and they're like, wait, you're Dando.
So now that, how do you navigate that? Because I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, the eyeballs. We're talking in the.
It's millions. And it's also like across the border and all of that. You know what I mean? Like there's been places or just somebody be like, oh no, I have this friend and what? They watch you guys. And
this is my excitement when you don't say,
oh snap, yeah.
Don't do that. You look first,
bro. So yeah, fam, like just being in that position and also understanding that character is as real to them as can be, because like when you're crafting a TV character, like you're literally there, making sure like what are the idiosyncrasies, the characters uniquely them and this and that. So to get to this point where I don't give out much about my personal life, I'm not, you won't know who I'm with, who I'm dating, what I do on a weekend or whatever, like
which is very hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
Which especially nowadays is very difficult.
And the fans want to see
everything.
Everything. I know, right? Yeah.
Everything.
So, but then I'm also just fighting for my own identity, because at the end of the day, like with all of that stuff that's going on, I still have to live real life. I know what it's like here in a Zesco meet at Beep. I know what it's like to be load shedding. I know what it's like having to be the uncle who's seeing their niece or nephew doing dumb stuff, and you're having to be the one to go and talk to them. Yeah. So like I'm real lifing, you know what I mean? Like real lifing. And I can't go out there with the expectations that people have of the public figure. I and also not even just going out there, because if it's strangers to me, it's strangers to me. My own family. Like they're seeing the TV guy more than they're seeing
the person that you really are.
Yeah. So, I think there was a line, there was a Kulichana and AKA song. Yeah, like one of them talked about like, having to, like they haven't seen the new babies who are born in.
Yeah, I think that was AKA's verse. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, bro. So now you're having to deal with all of this stuff. And you're like, the one thing I've seen so many entertainers also fall into is like you get lost in the sauce, basically. So now you start to believe that's who you are, bro. Like there's a select maybe 5 to 6 people who are making real bank from, let's just say, music alone, right? And then like the rest is just like the most middle class thing that you're experiencing, and you're right on the line. Like if one payment is missed, you're below the line or whatever. So it's just like, bro, like I'm not going to come out here and pretend that I'm as made as the next person or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, just throw it out there. Highest paid actor in Zambia for a while. But yeah, there's other things that are happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then also just like for me and myself, I don't have any kids yet that I know of. But there has to be a time when I pass on my identity, because that's the role of a father, passing on your identity to the people who are coming out of you. It's just like, I'm not going to give you an identity which was written by some writer somewhere. Like I need to give you me and who I truly am. So yeah, this is where I am, just going back to me basically. Yeah.
Wow, this is not where I saw this interview going, bro. Like, yo, no, like, you know what? I appreciate the vulnerability and the candidness and your honesty, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, because a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
I hate that I have to wind down. We could talk for hours, me and this gent right here, man. We go hours and hours. So, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, now let me take
you
this
got the
moment.
boy looking fresh out here. What is happening here? Before we go,
with everything that I have shared, right? Like one thing I realized is when I was busy womanizing, when I was busy like being a drunk, or when I was busy indulging in like drugs and things, the light even went off for effect.
Production, I see you. That is beautiful.
Perfect. Yeah,
that is beautiful. Ambiance.
Yeah,
no production. No production. That was beautiful.
It went so well with
with the conversation. No, kill it. This is the moment. Yeah. See.
With everything that I was going through, man. Like, first of all, big shout out to Pastor Mpangwe. Ebo Chungu Msuka. Those gents right around 2012, they used to sit me down, just almost every week would meet. I had no religious bone in me at the time, no interest in like digging into my spirituality, nothing. I used to sit down just out of respect. I'm like, I'm coming from that background, tell me what it is that you need to tell me. One of the first things that they told me was every human being, they have a hole in them, okay, which is meant for God. Your creator, that's who's supposed to fill that in. We know that the need is there. We pour all types of stuff in there. Yeah, it's you're covering it with, the opposite sex and this and that, alcohol, drugs and entertainment. It's TikTok, it's this, it's that. But that needs your creator. Like you need to have them come right back in. That's how you were created. That's what the manual says. You know what I mean? So as I have gone on a self-discovery journey, I have found that I won't find self outside of the creator, basically. Yeah. So I don't feel like what the church has portrayed this whole thing to be, like where it's just, you have to act a certain way. Because I've been in the church for the past couple of years, and I'll tell you that everybody's going through it.
Definitely.
Yeah, everybody's going through it. Whether you're there or you're this side, people are going through it. Yeah. So I decided, I'm like, okay, you know what? First of all, where I grew up, we used to call clothes rig. Yeah. So I was like, okay, how about I make clothes which show where I am right now? And this is being rooted in God. So no matter where you see me, bro, there's times when work will call me into places where the average Christian might not necessarily step into. I am there, bro. You gotta be, but I just want you to know that when I step into there, like,
which is the mandate, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. You go out into the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. And make disciples of all nations. Yeah. So I'm not going to like restrict myself to just like the four walls of, the church and stuff. Like I'm going out there, but then one thing you need to know is that, I'm filling up with the Spirit. And then when we go, the album is called Spirit, by the way.
Exclusive. Come on, the album is called what?
It's called Spirit.
Come on.
I've met drug dealers who pray. I've met, people who are in prison who say that they found God there. So this is it, man. Like, you're rooting. If you're rooted in God, bro, like, your relationship starts from there. Like, nobody is first, they clean up their act, then they go in that direction. Nah, it's like, come as you are vibes, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is it. This is the movement right here. R.I.G. Rig. You already know what it is.
Yo, they fresh. I wish I could show. I will show you all the back.
Actually, can I show my back?
Show your back. Yeah. Show your back. Yeah. You need to see the shirts, man. This is dope.
Mad because I didn't tell them I was going to.
Nah, production's
That's it. Right
production, you got that?
Yeah.
You got that? Yeah. So are these gonna be for sale? This is album merch, I'm assuming.
Yes, this album merch.
Come on. That means Sam Sakala.
Yeah.
With respect.
Yeah.
Album dropping.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for that confirmation, bro.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for that confirmation.
Yeah. So can't wait.
Bro, I'm proud of you. Shout out for everything that you're doing. Shout out to everything that you've done. You know what I mean? And everything you're about to do, bro. You are a talent. You are amazing. You are loved. I appreciate you, fam.
Appreciate you.
You know what I mean? You know what I
Appreciate you.
mean?
And thank you so much for having me. I must mention, it smells really good in this room.
No. I can't take production. Sometimes they show off. Yeah, sometimes they show off. You know what I
It's
mean?
like one of those herbs which make you relax. Because I mean, like the level of vulnerability that I have expressed out here, bro, doesn't feel natural. What is in there?
Don't want future guests. Don't want future guests. Now we just, you know what it is. Young conversations, good vibes. You know what I mean? Good atmosphere, good people, good company, great company.
Appreciate
You know what I
it,
mean?
bro. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to the album, bro. Yo, rooted in God. You know what I mean?
Yo.
Look out for these, how much they go for,
Yeah.
and everything to do with Sam Sakala. I'm so happy that I got to show a different side to you, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Appreciate it. I've been dodging podcasts.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I'm glad this was my first one. You know?
Hey, that's how we do it, the PodHouse. You already know what it is. Like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Up until the next one, you know what? Production, we're gonna have numbers up for people who are going through things. You know what I mean? We're gonna have some numbers up for people you can reach out to, organizations, and all of that. Because we love you out here. Keep safe, keep focused, keep moving, rooted in God. Till the next one. Peace.